Hi, Zizaran here, and another build guide for the upcoming Phrecia event, and this is a build guide collab with Carn, and this is going to be a Earthshatter Ancestral Commander, which looks super tanky. It's going to be a lot of buttons to press, but really strong. Carn, tell me a little bit about what does this ascendancy give us that we normally don't have access to?
Alright, so Commander has a few good things going for it. First of all is the defense. It's insanely good defense. We have Ancestral Endurance giving us 3 maximum endurance charges, and Ancestral Defiance, which pretty much gives us the same effect as the Defiance of Destiny. And what this does is that you literally cannot die while you're mapping, pretty much. 2 small hits. So Ancestral Defiance, which basically gives us Defiance of Destiny and allows us to be extremely tanky, if not immortal, while mapping. On top of it, we get Toughened Skin, which pretty much the same thing as the Juggernaut that gives us immunity to chill, freeze, any slows, and also armor from a lot of armor from our body armor. And most importantly, called the Ancestors, which is the reason we play Earthshatter. It gives us a lot of Warcry cooldown recovery rate for our exerts, and that means that we can play Earthshatter a lot more smoothly than we would be able to before. Normally, you would get to maps, you would be pretty short on the amount of Warcries that you have to pop your specs, but with that node, you can pretty much attack and Warcry at any time you want, and you will always have an available Warcry to deal your damage. So it is a pretty significant damage boost in the early game. It tempers off later on in the game, but it is very strong, gives you very good damage day one, and extremely good defense all throughout.
And Carn is league starting this, so at any point you'll be able to drop in on his stream, ask questions, see what he's doing, and see how the build is performing. And he's such a fast racer, so he will be like level 95 on day one kind of thing. So it'll be really cool to see how that goes. And yeah, you're able to get really good info from Carn. Since this build is a little bit more in depth, we are going to show a little bit of how the build plays in maps.
So for mapping on this build, you basically just want to alternate attacking with Earthshatter and using a Warcry to pop the spikes. And you want to use a different Warcry every single time to make sure that all your exerts stay up. For example, here I'm attacking Seismic Cry, attacking Enduring Cry, attacking Rallying Cry, and you just keep doing that. And whenever you need to single target, you just attack 3 times and then use one of your Warcries and make sure you just keep them all up at all times.
So, we're using Path of Building for this guide. If you aren't familiar with Path of Building, it's a third-party program. It's a link in the description down below, and we have a video on how POB works, but it is very important. Carn has put loads of effort in and made a step-by-step guide in the normal system we use, so you can see that it's very easy to see exactly where you're putting points as you're leveling up. And then we have endgame and more expensive version as well. And if you're wondering about the 126 points, 3 of those are just for the jewel giving the ascendancy. POB doesn't have the new ascendancies like picked like that, like they are on the jewel. And speaking of ascendancy, Carn, what is the ascendancy order?
Okay, so first we'll ascend, the first lab will get called the Ancestors, from which point we will auto-exert our Intimidating Cry, and it will be pretty much up 100% of the time. Second lab will get Toughened Skin, gives us freeze and chill immunity and extra armor. And the third lab, and before entering maps, we'll get Ancestral Endurance, and Uber lab will be Ancestral Defiance. You can also swap Toughened Skin for Ancestral Endurance instead and Defiance. It's up to you, but I recommend doing Toughened Skin second because of the freeze and chill immunity, which is really nice on day one.
That's very nice. So if you see here in the skill section, you can see that we start off with different skill sets. This is so that you don't end up with loads of skill gems that are no longer useful for your build. So if you follow everything inside the group, that'll be everything you need. So here you can see we start at level 1 with Ground Slam, and then at level 4 switch to Spectral Throw. Level 12 we switch to Sunder, and then there's loads of different setups. And then you can see endgame setup here. In items, there's different item sets as well. Early on, all you want is rares with life and resists. And on a physical weapon, if you can get percentage physical damage and flat physical damage, that is very big as well. Very important for this build to remember that there is a Rustic Sash recipe. You can use either a blue or a rare, preferably rare, Rustic Sash with a weapon and a Blacksmith Whetstone, and you will get percentage physical damage. And then even here in the early game, things like Comb's Sign is huge for this build. We're going to get so many endurance charges. So while you can beat it later on with other rings, it's surprisingly hard to beat Comb Sign. It is a shockingly good ring for how common it is. And in the endgame, you also have Echoes of Creation, and you get enough tank to mitigate the downside of that, and it just ends up getting you an insane amount of damage. And if you see everything in the build planned enabled, it gets 25 million damage. So it's actually pretty crazy. And if you are a little bit unsure on how to get some of the items, like this might look insane. Now, surprisingly, because we're combinators, insane items are surprisingly approachable. Very easy to get very high fist damage weapons because of recombinators. I have a video coming out with Steel Mage where we explain how recombinators work. So getting, for example, Merciless and Flaring, while it does cost a lot of alterations, it is a 1 in 3 to get those together. And yeah, just it is better for, you know, defensive gear like energy shield gear because they're very easy to roll, but it is surprisingly approachable for the more rare gear in the game as well. So make sure you look through all the gear as well for things that you can like try to go for. The implicits are all set, annoyance, everything like that, and it just looks like a really solid build in general. Should be a very safe starter. Now again, a big downside of the build is there is a lot of clicking. It's not like, for those that tried like the Berserker auto cry in Settlers League, it's not like that where auto does everything for you. We do use auto cry in this build, but you will still have to manually do some of the cries yourself as well. It is very worth it though. It looks like it packs a punch. I'm like so close to going melee because of this. Make sure you check out the notes section. Carn put a lot of effort and wrote loads of notes. So if you have a question, make sure you look here before asking Carn, because a lot of the problems will be answered. And there's loads of extra tips to make sure that you have an extra good league start. If you're wondering what the bandits are, you kill them all. Illyr is always a good choice early for more res, but yeah, +1 passive. And then Major God, Solo Lunaris, you're getting your Phrecia immune from your Ascendancy. And then Shakari for the Minor God. So guys, that was the Earthshatter build from Carn. Carn is going to be playing this, so make sure if you want to play this build, check him out. You will get great updates on the build and you'll be able to follow along. Super good player, really good dude, and will answer a lot of questions when you need help. So huge thank you to Carn for the collab. Hope you guys are enjoying watching. Sub if you like the video. More importantly, try to die less than I do.